Hi, I'm Sam. I'm an artist, graphic designer and illustrator from Leicester, England. I like travelling, creating, cooking, going to the game, jumping in the water and stuffing my face. In early 2023, I decided to put all my stuff into storage, sell my car and go travelling, embracing life as a digital nomad, flying around the world and working remotely in other countries. So far, it's been a blast. I've been making memories, exploring different cultures and embracing different ways of life. I've made a bunch of new friends, had a bunch of visitors from back home come out to stay with me, tried local cuisines, fell into tourist traps and had way too much sunshine. Some of my favourite days since I've been away are the days where I've put the iPad in a bag, gone for a wander until I found somewhere to post up, enjoying the scenery and drawing something. So I want to bring you with me as I document my journey and try to adjust to life on the move, finding inspiration and living my dream of working and travelling, drawing and exploring. Morning people, welcome to another episode of Drawing and Exploring with me, Sam Grub. I'm in Mostar, in Bosnia. Mostar's the fifth biggest city. I was going to spend my whole time here in Sarajevo, the capital, but then a colleague of mine said I should check out Mostar. She thought I enjoyed it more. So yeah, I've been to Mostar. It's 37 degrees, it's pretty hot. But I'll be honest, I've barely seen it this week. I've been so slammed with work and just some different bits that I had to catch up on. I've pretty much been chained to the desk all week. So it's a Saturday. I'm excited to get out and about and see what's happening. I think next week I might be a little bit more active. But yeah, buzzing. I headed down, obviously, last week's episode. Went into the old town and had some fun around there, saw some of the sights. And then I've just popped out to grab food once or twice. Look at these cool cars. I love these cars. So many fun old ones here. So yeah, not really had much of a chance to explore. And then last night I was Googling, I was thinking about today, what I'm going to do. And there's a couple of cool things. There's a couple of like old little villages that are on the water nearby. So I think that's the plan today. I'm going to go check one of those out. So when I've landed from Dubrovnik here, I got a coach to the coach station and then I've organised a taxi to pick me up from there. And the dude gave me his card. He said I can WhatsApp him, no problem, it's all good. Nice and easy. So I took the guy's card, I've WhatsApped him today. I said, oh, can you take me to this place? And he said, oh, I'm busy, I'm in Sarajevo. And so he's not around. And then his friend had a taxi and he was like, his friend's not around. So I was like, okay, cool. I was thinking about what I'm going to do. And then I thought, while I'm here, the roads are really nice. I've been thinking for a while, I fancy a little bike ride. So I was like, you know what, I might just rent a bike. It's about 17 kilometers away, so I think that's doable. And then when I'm looking for bike rental places, there's one that's literally just across the road from my apartment. My balcony is somewhere, one of those ones up there. So I'm gonna go in and see how I go. It doesn't look very open, even though they said they were open on Google. It's not. Brilliant. There's a sign saying if you need to rent a bike, you can contact us on WhatsApp. But I might see if there's another one in the city centre. Let's have a look. Made the short scooter ride. It was about 10 minutes down the road, just heading into the centre to a place that I couldn't find. There's another bike rental place that's like halfway to where I want to go to. But then it said just here there's supposed to be a scooter rental place. And all I can see is a bar. On Google Maps it says it's literally like the same pin as where the bar is. If you walk down the side of the bar, there's a couple of little scooters parked up. So I think maybe the play might be to go in the bar and ask around. I wonder if it's the same dudes who own the bar who rent the scooters. Let's have a look. By hook or by crook? So I just come off the phone with the dude. I called the number on the little flyer on the door. He said it's €35 for one day. He needs it back by 8 p.m, but that's kind of good because I've got some evening plans anyway. I don't think I'm going to be out all day. Needs to see my driving license. He needs a deposit. So he was like, "Oh, you're at the office now." He's like, "I'll come down." So I guess he's in one of these apartments here. I think he's going to be here in a second. So it looks like we will be getting on the road. Let's have a look. Yes, okay. So the dude just came down, met me, we signed the paperwork, just a small contract to say obviously any scratches and blah blah blah. He said it takes petrol, and he said like €5 is going to be a full tank. So I'm heading off to the waterfalls. He said, like I said, he needed it back by 8 p.m. So I think it's going to be a flying visit. It's about 1 p.m. now, but new whip for the day. This is going to be it. €35 and a €150 deposit. Not too bad. Okay, so I've arrived at my first stop, a little village called Blagaj, or Blagaj maybe. Comes from the word blaga, which means mild, referring to the weather probably. Myself and a bunch of day trippers here. Loads of old stuff, look at this. They say the city was built in, not the city, the buildings in the village I guess were built out in 1530. So some pretty old stuff. It said some remnants of Ottoman Empire bits and bobs. I've had to park off the whip, but there's a bunch of like running water and waterfalls and stuff like that. That's what I'm chasing today. Bit of a national park sort of vibe. So it looks pretty cool. I don't even know what this stuff is here. I feel like an idiot. Is this like an aqueduct or something like that? What do you call this stuff? God knows anyway. But yeah, we're here, first stop, and then we're on the way about another 40 minutes down the road. So I'm gonna have a look here, what's going on. I've seen some people on Google were having a little dip and just exploring. So I just wanted to get out of the city and have a look. So they've got the 15th century house, which was fun, but it's literally just a house. Like a mook, I paid the 10 BAM, which is about €4.50 to get in and have a look around. But I don't know if I'm not interested in that sort of stuff. I realised you could get a viewpoint of that same part of the water from just across the way. So I should have just gone there, but it's so busy with day trippers. I don't know if I've just arrived at the wrong time. Obviously, like I said, it's a Saturday, but there's so many people there, parts where there's tiny little walkways and you're just behind a load of people trying to get through. So not ideal. Fun to see, but tiny little place and can't really be bothered sticking around. The main thing is I want to get onto those waterfalls, but like I said, I'm against the clock, so I've got to have that scooter back with a dude by 8 p.m. So yeah, I'm going to make hay, which I think means that realistically I'm not sitting down and spending half the day with the iPad, even though I've got it in my bag and I've carried it all this way. But to talk about the artwork stuff that I'm going to be doing, I'll just punch the section in. It's a pretty cool one. So a dude popped up on my art account. I don't actually know his name, Mr. Greatest Revenge, and his brand Greatest Revenge is a clothing brand. And at a glance looks pretty cool. Streetwear brand, bright colours, playful, some really nice designs. And the garments look pretty good as well. It looks like he's using high stock stuff, not just printing a logo onto some t-shirts. But yeah, he reached out and he wanted a design. So they've got this bear mascot that they use throughout quite a few designs. And he wants a two-sided design with the bear kind of on one side holding balloons that say greatest. And then on the other side, it's going to be revenge. But then the bear looks a little bit more menacing with like red eyes and a big sharp smile and stuff like that. So me and this dude, we've been going back and forth for a couple of weeks just trying to hash out the design and figure out exactly what it is he wants. And that's my job for this weekend, to sit and get that done. So, like I say, by the power of video magic right now, you're going to see me drawing for Mr. Greatest Revenge. Okay, on with the show. So this was the rough sketch that I'd sent over to the dude. And initially I had the balloons on, like the writing, on just like circular balloons. Sent him over the sketch and then he was like, no, I want like those kind of letter balloons. So I was like, cool, I understand. So I made a version 2 and all I'd done was, just because it was super rough, was just brought in a image from Google of like an alphabet of those balloons and kind of, copy pasted them until I had the word greatest and the word revenge. And I really wanted to try and capture the sort of shadows of the balloons. But we'll get onto that. So this was our bear character. He says he's got so a lot of the stuff that he does for his brand carries this little bear mascot. And when I spoke to him, I was like, how do you want it to look? And he shouted out a piece from, I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the last link, but episode, 7 maybe. And the piece is just called Midnight Meeting. And it was a little bit more kind of like this style that I've been trying to work on without the line work. And just more leaning on colour and shadows and make it look a little bit more 3D. The word he used was realistic. So that was my aim with this, to not make it so cartoony. But it was cool to work on the bear. I think I'm going to be doing some more bits for him. So I think this bear character is going to be recurring. And it's nice to have a steady kind of version 1 of the bear down so that I can kind of pull from him going forward and update him and whatever. Yeah, so here I've made a copy of the layer with the actual balloons on, and then I'm just kind of drawing them over the top by eye, trying to pick out some highlights and some lowlights and give them that sort of metallic sheen. And I think the main thing here was the little strokes that infer the crinkles. What would you call those? The creases, I guess, in the balloons, just where it's stressed, where it's going around a corner or something like that. A lot of his art that he had for his different pieces for the brand used this kind of pastel palette as well, so I picked these colours from some existing pieces he had, and just tried to make it as colourful as possible. It's pretty cool. So he's using a technique to print these t-shirts called direct to garment. Typically if I'm printing my t-shirts, I'll print screen printed t-shirts, and I like that approach. It's a bit more kind of punk and DIY, and I think a lot of the graphic t-shirts that I wear, they'll just be like 1 or 2 colour screen printing, which is literally you have a screen with a really fine mesh on it, and then you push the ink through the mesh. You obviously expose the image onto the screen so that the only holes left in the screen are with your artwork. So when you push the ink through the mesh, the ink only goes through on the places you want it to, and you make your design. Whereas this dude is using a technique called direct to garment. So if you think of those retro like Aaliyah or who else might you see, like
I don't know, R9 Ronaldo, you might see those direct-to-garment t-shirts where they're full colour and they're typically front pieces with like a digital kind of text and image composition. And it means you can print full colour, they're hard wearing, it's a cool technique. So it was nice to design a t-shirt and not have to worry about keeping it one colour or two colour and do the post work that is required of a screen printed t-shirt. So I was just going at it, I was just drawing, you know, high res and thinking direct to garment. So I'm excited to see how these come out. As ever, whenever I'm drawing t-shirt artwork for clients, I'll ask for one of the t-shirts. So yeah, I'll be glad to get my hands on one of these. This part of the process, I need to figure something out. I think I said in the last episode, I'm really starting to hurt my hand with this stuff, where if my hand's even slightly sweaty, I'm gripping the pen and it's causing like a strain injury in my wrist kind of, and it makes it difficult, you know. So I'm thinking like I need to put a little grip onto the pen or something like that. More of the balloons here. I was happy with this at first. When I did the G, I wasn't sure how it was going to look, but I think with, you know, the whole message illustrated out, I think they do kind of start to look a little bit more balloony and a bit more realistic, which was a relief, because I wasn't sure how I was going to approach it if they didn't work and I couldn't quite capture the essence. As ever, guys, you know what I'm using. This is a 12.9 inch iPad Pro 5th generation, and I'm using a 2nd generation Apple Pencil, and the software is Procreate, which is optimized for iPad. So yeah, getting it done here. It's on my list to number one, back up my files, as I mentioned in the last episode, but I also want to check how my storage is doing, because I think each of these images, because I'll create stuff at such high res, each of them they're quite big files, and I've never checked the storage on the iPad. I just got the big boy with the big memory when I first got it. So I think maybe a day where I'm uploading the Procreate files and saving them somewhere and freeing up a bit of space is probably overdue. But yeah, I was also thinking this was cool. So because this is such high res, I can go back and edit it later and kind of pick different parts out. Like I said, with the bear, I imagine that's going to reoccur in some other designs I do for this dude. But also, I like the way these balloons look just together, both on the same slide. Like I said at the start, the plan's to have Greatest on one side and Revenge on the back, with the two slightly different bears, this more sinister looking bear. But I like both the balloons together, and I was saying to him, let's do a t-shirt where it's just these balloons. The artwork's already done. For me to lay it out, I'm obviously not going to charge him much, it's just a quick job. But I think it's almost like it's a pretty cool design. So here, yeah, tracing in the bear, the sinister bear's face, and I've just got to think about that little fur that I just covered up, so I've just got to redraw that bit. I thought to give him some long, sharp teeth, classic sinister stuff you're seeing here. Some little details in between the teeth just to make them stand out a little bit. I'm not sure what colour garment this is going to be mocked onto, so when I've sent over the mocks, I just sent over on a black t-shirt and a white t-shirt. Little white shine on the nose. This was the only piece of black on the whole artwork, and I thought it kind of makes sense to make the eyes a little darker. You know what I should have looked at for some inspiration was, is he called Dark Sonic? You know, Sonic the Hedgehog's little mate, who's like got eyes kind of similar to this. He used to look scary when I was a kid. A little bit of shading. And then I think just patching in the little bit of fur that's here. Then I'm going to do the detail on top for the eyes. So with this here, I'll make a couple of little patches, add a Gaussian blur, which just blurs around the outside, and then just play with the blend mode a little bit, just so they sit a little differently. This might well be an overlay blend mode. Just make those eyes look that way. And now onto the background. So this was something we discussed. He said he wanted a bit of a background, nothing too much, just something to set it in place a little bit. And I thought a cloud and a kind of ball of flames that I've been enjoying drawing recently might be a good treatment for it. So trying to layer it up, trying to think about how the composition will look on a t-shirt. You can see ever so slightly at the bottom, it's just on a slant. So I changed that in post when I was just sending over the high-res Photoshop file. Added a little shadow here, a little bit of highlights just in the cloud just to make them jump off a little bit. This is the cool thing with DTG, it's like you can effectively go full color. There was no, sometimes when I'm doing a design for a screen printed t-shirt, I really have to think about it and think how I can make something graphic with one color, whereas with this DTG direct to garment stuff, it's quite nice because you can just draw full color with reckless abandon, and then the printer's just going to make it look true to color when it comes out. So it's all good fun. One thing I was struggling with was drawing nice smooth lines for the strings on the balloons with the pen, and you might have clocked, if you've seen a few other, here I am struggling with it, you might have seen some other episodes, it's quite hard to get nice clean curved lines with this software. So, well, I find anyway. So sometimes I'll use, like, there's a corrective tool. If you're drawing a curved line, you can kind of hold it in place and then it's going to snap to like a perfect circle or a perfect curve. Whereas what I ended up doing was just drawing them with my fingertip. I found this to be much easier, and you get a much cleaner, smoother curved line. So it worked. I guess maybe just because the texture of your skin, you've got a little bit more resistance on the screen. I use this a screen cover called a Paper-like, and I want to look at if there's some others on the market. It makes a huge difference. It's got a slight, ever so slight grain texture, just so the pen catches a little bit and you're not slipping on the glass. But I still think it could go to another level, whether it's a case of buying another nib for the pen with a slight rubbery nib or something like that, or whether it's like a different screen cover that's got a slightly deeper grain on it. I think I could find another level of comfort with the work, but that's one for another day. We're nearly there, just adding in the little shadows and a bit of a stipple texture just because just to add to the detail. Some lowlights in the flames, again just a little bit of texture. Yeah, here look, you can see I'm drawing them in with my fingertip. That way they're just smooth and nice. Here I'm conscious of making them go through the bear's paw and just rubbing that section out so it looks like they're hidden behind his hand. And these little bits where they're tied onto the knots at the bottom of the balloons. Same here, just going to use my fingertip, setting them in place. I'm just rotating them ever so slightly so that they line up with the little knots. Rub out the section behind the paw, and I think the bit that goes behind his ear in a moment. There we go. And there's the final tee. Pretty happy with this. I'm excited to see them in real life. As you can see, I've straightened up the base of the bear, how it's standing, so it's not on a slant no more. First design for Greatest Revenge. We've got some really cool work we're talking about, so I'm excited for that. These are the balloons on their own.
Okay, Kravica waterfall, which feeds into the, I think it said Trebizat River, maybe. I'm in Herzegovina now. Still need to look into how Herzegovina and Bosnia are separate. I'm not sure on the history. But, oh my God, it was a long way. My legs are numb. Little 50cc hairdryers doing about 45 kilometers. I'm getting overtook by everything. I thought it was like an hour trip, but it took at least 2. Like I said, the guy needs the scooter back by 8 p.m, so I think I'm just going to have to blare it on the way back. And I've got 2 bars of petrol left, so pray for me. Because I was looking for a petrol station near here, thinking obviously there's going to be a lot of tourists coming and a lot of cars coming. And nobody's had the bright idea to pop a petrol station next to this, near the waterfall anywhere. So pray for me that I don't get stuck on the way back. I'm already stressing about it. I tried to pull into one and get some petrol. I must have been sat on the forecourt for about 4 or 5 minutes before anyone came out and gave any assistance. So I'm on 2 bars. I think it's downhill a little bit initially on the way, so fingers crossed we should be okay. But yeah, I'm just going to have a quick look round here, go see some waterfalls. Okay, the sun's starting to go down. It's still pretty hot. Checked out the waterfalls, dipped my toes in, had a lovely Coke Zero. Now I'm back on the road. I've got to try and get some petrol. That's the next stop. Because I'm thinking, if I'm due to get back to this guy before 8 o'clock and this thing starts spluttering, that's no good for anyone. I'm not making it to him. So I've got to get to it and then hope that I'll find a petrol station along the way. Back to Mostar we go. Okay, night's fallen. I made it back. It's funny because on Google Maps it's saying like obviously the length of the trip is judged as if you was in a car. And on this little thing, because I didn't have the A1 license, I've just got a normal driving license. I couldn't take out their big bike. So this was like 100cc, like a hairdryer little thing, just buzzing along. I think its max speed was about 45 kilometers per hour. So it was like, it just felt like I wasn't eating it up. As I'm getting closer and closer, I'm like checking the time and it's just saying the same thing. It's like, I've probably gone 1 kilometer. great. But yeah, into the night. It's a Saturday, like I said, and I've kind of got plans. I've got to go home. I'm on 4%. So my plan is just to run home, charge my phone a little piece, and then I'm going to go to the football match. So there's 2 local teams. I know there's one called Velež. That's the one I'm seeing tonight. And there's one other one. They play in white. I can't remember the name. But I was at this... I'm a Liverpool fan, right? So I was at this Liverpool-themed bar for the game last week. And there's a lot of Serbs in there. Serbs. Bosnians in there. Supporting Liverpool. And so I get chatting to this guy and I'm saying, why is there so many Liverpool fans? And he said, oh, it's just because they wear red, the same as Velež. So everyone who's a Velež fan is a Liverpool fan. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And then turns out there's a game this Saturday. So I text this taxi guy's number after I was looking online trying to find a ticket. It was an absolute nightmare. I text this taxi dude. He's rang the stadium and they said that you can buy tickets on the night from a box office. So I've still got to figure out how I'm going to get there. I'm going to message the taxi guy. I think he said he was in Sarajevo tonight. He's got a friend with a cab. If not, I might have to get creative. Kickoff's in about 50 minutes. It's about 10 past 8 now and kickoff's at 9 o'clock. So like I said, just going to run home, stick my phone on charge, and then see if I can make it to the stadium. So I messaged my taxi guy. He's not around, his friend's not around. And then I messaged the scooter guy and said, oh, have you got a taxi number? He offered to drop me at the stadium earlier. So I said to him, oh, can you still drop me off? He said, oh, no, I can't. I'm busy now. I'm working. So he suggested taking a short walk down to this mall. And he was like, outside the mall, there's usually a few taxis. It's about half an hour till kickoff. So wish me luck that I make it to the stadium. I still don't know how today ends. Let's see. To the stadium, Velež. Thank you. Ciao. All right, it was a cool stadium. Ultras were loud all game, flares the lot. It was good fun. Game ended 1-1. The other team spent half the time rolling around on the floor, not really getting up to much. And then there was the penalty overturned late via VAR. But pretty cool game. Glad I made it to the stadium. Literally got in there just as kickoff was happening. So I feel like today's been one of those days where I've been like, I've got 5 minutes to get there, and it's took 4 minutes 59. Every place that I've been to today, every stop of the way. But a cool day. Definitely feel like I've seen a little bit more of Bosnia now. Yeah, thanks to anyone who watched, anyone who's still here with us at the end of the episode. I've got to wait here for my taxi. That guy's coming in about 20 minutes, so I think I've timed it all right. But yeah, if you want to tune in, if you want to see more of what I do, the best place to follow is the Instagram. So head there, it's at samgrubart. You can see all the bits and bobs there, all the project work, most of the illustrations from the various episodes. Also the TikTok at samgrubart. I'm trying to post some little clips there from the episodes. You can head to my portfolio site, samgrub.co.uk. I'm going to give that a bit of an update, so I think by the time you see this video, that was odd. Not sure what this guy was doing. He just moved me over here. Yeah, you can head to the portfolio site. That's samgrub.co.uk. I'm going to give it a bit of an update, so I think by the time this episode's out, there'll be a few new bits. Yeah, also from there you can go to the shop. That's shop.samgrub.co.uk. That's for all the t-shirts and stickers and prints and things like that. But the main thing I want to shout out, as ever, the reason why I'm on this YouTube venture, trying to record these episodes and spread them out to the world, is I'm trying to build a bit of a bigger client base. So if you're a taxi driver in a Balkan country and you need a logo designing, or you need a fancy new business card or something like that, get in touch with me. You can contact me at contactdrawingandexploring@gmail.com. We can talk about the project. My dream would be to have work that's generated from people who land on these episodes, and I'm able to do the work in the episodes and shout them out a little bit and talk about them. So if that sounds like you, like I said, get in touch. Contact drawingandexploring@gmail.com. But for now, I'm going to wait for this taxi guy. There's a doner kebab place here that's open that looks extremely tempting. So I might be getting a little kebab, possibly to take back with me. Traffic looks an absolute myth, so I might just get it here. But yeah, like I said, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time for more drawing and exploring.